What happens when power, secrets, money, betrayal, and desperation collide, and the truth refuses to stay hidden? Never Too Dark takes us on an emotional and suspense-filled journey where every character seems to be carrying a secret, and every revelation raises even more questions. From the very beginning, the story pulls us into a world of influence and authority. Madame Chizara is clearly a woman surrounded by powerful connections. But the question is, what exactly is she hiding? When investigators arrive with a warrant to search the premises, the atmosphere immediately changes. What was once business as usual suddenly becomes a serious confrontation. The tension rises when the issue of bribery comes up. A public servant is faced with what appears to be an attempt to influence the situation, but the response makes it clear that this investigation is not going to disappear easily. There is a sense that someone has been watching, someone has been gathering evidence, and someone may be closer to the truth than Madame Chizara realizes. But just when you think the story is focusing entirely on the investigation, everything takes another turn. A phone call comes in from the hospital. It is Madame Chizara's maid who calls to inform her about the family emergency. The maid reveals that Madame Chizara's sister has collapsed and is currently at the hospital. This scene introduces a completely different kind of tension. While Madame Chizara is dealing with an investigation and the pressure surrounding her activities, she is suddenly faced with a personal crisis involving her sister. At the hospital, the situation is serious enough to cause concern, but there is also a moment of relief when it is confirmed that the woman is stable and can be visited. The story therefore begins to balance two different forms of conflict: the external pressure created by the investigation and the emotional pressure created by a family emergency. And this is where Never Too Dark becomes particularly intriguing. The characters are not dealing with only one problem. There are secrets, investigations, relationships, desperation, family issues, and difficult choices all unfolding around them. Another striking part of the story is the conversation about poverty. The statement, "poverty is violent," captures one of the deeper themes running through the story. Poverty can push people into difficult situations and sometimes make them willing to take risks they might otherwise avoid. That statement reveals the dangerous attraction of power and influence. It raises an important question. When someone is desperate to escape poverty, how much are they willing to overlook? Sometimes people know that the person helping them is not completely innocent, but they still hold on because they believe that person's connections can change their lives. That creates a complicated moral situation. Is it possible to benefit from someone's influence without becoming involved in their wrongdoing? Can desperation justify questionable choices? And what happens when the person you depend on eventually becomes the person being investigated? These questions add depth to the story. The investigation also creates suspense because the audience is left wondering what the authorities will eventually discover. If there is nothing serious to hide, why is the atmosphere so tense? And if there are secrets, how far do those secrets go? The story keeps these questions hanging in the air. Then the emotional tone shifts again as the message of hope and mercy begins to emerge. The words "never too late" become an important reminder that even when people find themselves in dark situations, their story does not necessarily have to end there. It is never too late to change. It is never too late to seek forgiveness. It is never too late to return to the right path. It is never too late to receive love and mercy. The repeated message about mercy and open arms gives the story a spiritual and emotional dimension. Beneath the suspense and drama is a reminder that people can make mistakes, become lost, or find themselves trapped in circumstances they never expected, but there can still be an opportunity for redemption. This makes the title Never Too Dark particularly meaningful. The darkness in this story is not only about secrets and investigations, It is also about the difficult situations people find themselves in because of poverty, desperation, wrong decisions, and complicated relationships. But darkness does not always mean the end. There can still be light. There can still be mercy. There can still be another chance. As the story continues, the audience is left with several unanswered questions. What exactly is the investigation into Madame Chizara about? What will the investigators discover when they search the premises and devices? How powerful are Madame Chizara's connections? Why are people willing to depend on those connections, even when they know she may not be completely clean? And what will happen to her family as these problems continue to unfold? The hospital incident also adds another emotional layer. Madame Chizara now has to deal with a family emergency while facing the pressure of an investigation. How she responds to these circumstances could reveal another side of her character. One thing is certain, the pressure is increasing. The more the investigation unfolds, the more difficult it may become to keep secrets hidden. And when secrets begin to surface, everyone connected to them could be affected. That is what makes Never Too Dark a compelling story to follow. It combines suspense, family drama, power, poverty, influence, investigation, and a message of hope. It also reminds us that life is rarely as simple as black and white. People make choices for different reasons. Some are driven by greed, some by desperation, some by survival, and others by the desire to protect the people they love. But every choice eventually has consequences. So, what do you think? Do you believe Madame Chizara will be able to overcome the investigation, or will the truth eventually catch up with her? Do you think her powerful connections will protect her, or could those same connections become part of the evidence against her? And what do you think about the statement that poverty is violent? Can desperation make people overlook the wrong things simply because they desperately need help? Share your thoughts in the comments. I would genuinely love to hear your opinion. And if you enjoy our movie reviews and want to encourage us to keep bringing you more interesting Nollywood stories, please subscribe to Flicks and Feels. Your subscription is a huge encouragement to us and helps the channel continue growing. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. Share it with other movie lovers who enjoy suspense, drama, mystery, and meaningful stories. Every subscription, like, comment, and share makes a difference. Disclaimer: this video is created for entertainment, review, commentary, and discussion purposes. All movie clips, images, characters, and other copyrighted materials belong to their respective owners. No copyright infringement is intended. Chioma Nwosu TV is credited for the original movie content. This review is our own commentary and interpretation of the scenes provided, and is intended to encourage discussion among viewers. Thank you for watching Flicks and Feels. Remember, no matter how complicated life becomes, it is never too dark for hope, mercy, love, and a new beginning.